Hey, how's it going? I am going to read you some cards, but first, look at my signs. So, I am, kind of disorganized here. Come on now. Cool. So anyway, I am kind of like, I feel kind of sad almost, but there's not really a good reason, or I mean any reason for me to feel sad really. Things are going fine. It just is a weird kind of like, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever felt this kind of sadness. I'm not even sure if it's my own sadness that I'm feeling. I kind of think it's not. 'Cause, like I said, I don't have reasons to be feeling sad. I know the angle is weird, but sorry. I kind of want to talk about the presidential election, but the candidates really. And what I think is going to happen, or what I feel like is going to happen, because, well, it's both really. Like, I think about it, and I think this is what's going to happen, and then I also feel like it couldn't go another way, and my feeling is reinforced by psychics that have confirmed what I felt. So, the other thing is, I bought a new deck of cards. It's this deck, and I specifically like meditated on my card choice, or what I did was I asked to be guided to the right deck, because there's a lot of them, and there is another one that I wanted, but oddly enough I did not see it. It didn't come up like it usually does, which is interesting, but this did, and I had never seen it on there before. So funny how things work. And I pulled them out to shuffle them and kind of get used to them. And the one popped out right away. And it was well, I'll show it to you. Let me see if I can find it here. I just thought it was interesting that particular card popped out, because there's definitely some things going on in my personal life where what the card was talking about could have applied to me. I do my best to make sure that particular quality I stay away from as much as possible. Okay, I should have done this before I got started. So I'll just start talking about what I was feeling about the candidate situation. Really, I was gonna say it really only matters about who gets elected. I couldn't read that. But that's not really true, because here's my feeling. Okay, so this was the card that popped out like right when I was just shuffling them for the first time. It's the Regent Diamond, and as you can see, the keyword here at the bottom is arrogance. Oh, the cleverness of me. And I thought, I really could take that to heart, because I just taken on some new things, and am surprisingly successful at it, and it's making me happy. But I guess there are moments of, the cleverness of me, but usually something will happen to humble me right up. So I kind of take that as the way to go, more than like to go the arrogance way, because it seems like if I get too big for my britches, something happens to take me down a peg or some. Okay. So back to the candidate situation. Okay, I think everyone has seen and digested and regurgitated the whole debate situation with the two candidates. And I don't want to leave Trump out because he's significant now in ways that I don't find particularly positive, just my opinion. And what he's offering as a candidate sounds dreadful to me. It's revenge and exclusion and the general tenor of the people, because they want to emulate that man so much, is just insulting wiener. Like all the time, find whatever you can wrong with somebody, whether it's real or not, and then just harp on it to death and turn it into a meme. And my question is, how does that do anything in the government that's helpful for the people that have to live here? They're not trying to have a government. They're trying to... I've heard people say that he wants to be a king and they want to institute a, like, monarchy system, and I don't know if they think everybody's just going to lay there and take it and just be all okay. I mean, it may seem like that now, but if you aggravate people enough, they will rise up. I mean, historically, that's been the case. Push people enough, and you're going to push them too far, and then you're going to have a problem. And I don't think they want a problem with the people. I think they want to keep us dumb and sedated with our shows and all of the garbage that we make important, you know. Like, listen, I watch it myself. I'm a consumer, but celebrity crap, that's none of our business that we get all wrapped up in. And, you know, we have a lot of things like that that really just are not important. You know, like, some of it may be to the people actually doing the work, doing the jobs of being entertainers, but following every personal thing about them, man, it's not necessary. They don't welcome it in most cases, so it's not cool. Anyway, I don't want to go into that too much, but I just feel like if that's what you're into, I don't relate to that. I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't want, it's like a regression. Okay, what just came out? Oh shoot, you turned over as well. So I got Amber. Healing. The wound is in the place where the light enters you. Okay, that one. And then one hopped out onto the floor. Oh. Okay, I didn't need to make that. I didn't need to make that noise. Anyway. This card is Christ of Praise. And the keyword is perspective. The difference between hope and despair is a different way of telling stories from the same facts. You know, that's what that whole, like, mega thing is for all of us, really, because depending on where you're standing, you know, the proposed 2025 agenda, whatever you call it, and pretty much everything that Trump has been talking about that he wanted to do, everything that he did do when he was president, and all of the things that he wanted to do but wasn't allowed to. Some people are into that. Not my cuppa. Thanks. But that is a perfect example of a situation where there's a different way of telling stories from the same facts. And when I hear revenge and danger and illogical separation and the finding stuff wrong with people, it's just exhausting to me. So, I don't know, like a MAGA person hears drag queen and they think everything horrible and terrible, but the stuff they're thinking is not necessarily the case. And also, the way that the narratives can be so radically different between the MAGA and the right also, because there is, I guess, some level of separation between them in the Republican Party. It just looks different from the side of someone on the left, because the things that they're like all happy about, like, oh, we're gonna get the liberals, and oh, the blacks are creating all the problems. Are we though? It doesn't seem we have that reach in reality, and that's like a story that they tell themselves one way, and then like if you ask one of a black, they might tell you, well, wow, that was weird. That's not really the reality of the situation. You got it kind of wrong. But you know, often that doesn't work because they want their reality to be the one that's correct because it feels good for them. And another way that they can tell a completely different story about the same thing is that they have been told that broadcast network news is fake news. I would venture to say all of it has a pretty large level of fake, because they're not trying to give you the news, they're trying to work you. But if you don't listen to the news that the other people are listening to that you disagree with, that's when you're going to run into a problem, because they're going to be talking about stuff that you don't know about because you haven't looked at it, and you're not gonna, because you already don't believe it. So what is the point? So I'm not gonna listen to a story coming from over here because I don't agree with those people and I don't like it, and even if it's not true, I'm just, whatever I hear that's made up sounds so ugly and nasty and it gets them good, so I'm gonna go with that one. That is how, in my opinion, those lines get all crossed and mixed up. Oh, you know, is this thing recording? Okay, good. Because last time I went for like, I was done. I went through the whole thing and it was like, oh man, it wasn't even on. So, yeah, it's on. And that does create a dissonance though, like the different stories competing with each other. And then I think allegiances bring a lot of emotion to these situations that, I mean, we barely have a dog in these games, in my opinion. But talk about that another time. So Biden did not perform well at the debate. I think that's been established. But I'll tell you, one thing I noticed immediately when it started was that he was standing there with his mouth open. Like, the camera was on him and he just didn't close it, and I was like, is this real? Because I'm like, is it fake news? I'd never seen him like that before, and it looked strange. And it went on so long, and I was like, well, does he have a cold or something? And then he just didn't shut his mouth, and I was like, oh, he must. And then he started talking. I was like, oh my God, yeah, he sounds sick. So, I mean, that was obvious. I don't know how people didn't see that right away. Do you not have difficulty breathing through your nose and then you have to use your mouth when you have a cold? I mean, is he the only one that happens to ever? I don't think so. And he was like out of it, kind of. And so It is not hard for me to understand that. I mean, I know what the guy has to do in a day as president. He has to do a ton of reading. He has to have knowledge of the places and people that he's talking to from here or anywhere. I mean, like, I don't think people really comprehend what it takes to do that job. And if he's like half busted, he's doing pretty good. But the other thing is that they also don't do everything themselves any more than like Merrick Garland is in charge of every legal case the entire Justice Department is undertaking. He is. I mean, it sounds silly, doesn't it? One person keeping an eye on every little action in the entire agency. That's not realistic. So, same with the presidents. They have support staffs. And, yeah, you want them to have help. So, I think, I don't know if it's irrational fear, but people just lost their minds and were like, we cannot have him. We need to replace him with someone else. And here I am like, the time to have done all of this was 2013, 2014, 2015. Because a lot of people, by their votes, they just erased it and try to make it like it didn't happen or something. But 2 elections in a row, Bernie Sanders was who many of the people wanted, and even some Republicans, which is what the Democrats kept saying they wanted, but they did everything to make sure they got few, if any, Republicans. And then they wouldn't let the Democrats have who we voted for, so, they just, tell us to do stuff, and then they don't decide they don't like the way we did it, so they change our work. They just redo it. Because I guess we're stupid bad kids. I don't know. But I don't want to play with them people anymore. They're not nice. But, then we have this situation where you can make as little or as much as you want about the threat to democracy here, but, I mean, it's pretty overt if you know what they got planned on the right, like the 2025, and then there's something else, Agenda 47, so I don't know. I don't know the name exactly of the second one, but I did hear on the news talking about what's in it and what's in 2025, both of which can be looked up. So you should probably do that. Whether you vote or not, normally you should hear what they are wanting to do with your world. Like, if you're happy in the world you're living in right now, you may learn that they want to just completely deconstruct that. Like, everything that has made this country what you've known it to be up to now, even though it's being chipped at like my whole life, which is, I turned 60 in December, so about 55 years or so that I've been paying, or 55, that's silly. I don't know, so 47 years, let's call it, that I would have been paying attention to this stuff. And also, enjoying freedoms and institutions that were hard fought for, and people are like, we want to take it all away from you. Women, we want to take votes away from you so you can't, and also racists, you get out. We don't want you voting either, because you're going to vote for stuff for you, and we don't like that. Well, I don't like your attitude, sirs and madams. How dare you? I'm here too, Don't be trying to yank the rug out from under me. This is not 100 years ago. We're not the same women and races that we once were. And you know why? Because we had rights and freedoms. And we're going to be loath to give that up. So I don't know what you guys are thinking. You're like, oh, we got all of the guns. As if that, makes everything the matter. or sorry, it does. That causes a lot of problems. The guns. I don't care if it's the gun doing it or the person doing it. They're both a problem, in my opinion. Just because, like, leave people's guts inside of them. What is wrong with you? So, on the left, Biden does not want to do those things that I have made an objection to with you here. Not perfect, but you know what? He is what we have. And so I started thinking, I see the problems that people have with Biden. Like I said, I never wanted him to be president. Like, anytime he ran, I was like, nope. And Miss Harris too. Like, I'm not saying anything good or bad about her qualifications. I just did not choose either of them. Like, whatever my reasons are, who cares? All you need to know is that's not who I chose. And so, whatever. That, you know, you don't get what you want a lot. But, now it's like a big, huge uproar. And I think more and more awareness from proponents from both candidates are now, like, looking at their selection and going, wait a minute, what have I done? Because both sides they may be talking about the other side's candidate, but it really applies to both men. Like, they both are doing the same kind of things, having issues with speaking, having issues finishing thoughts, having issues enunciating thoughts that make sense. So I said this recently, I think on Twitter, choose your candidate, but also which support staff are you wanting for president? Something to consider. But the thing is, we seem to be having such a problem making a transition from, like, the older guard in the government. Like, they do not want to let go. Like, Nancy Pelosi is kind of like Joe Biden. They're, like, insisting that she needs to be there. Like, we need her. And I am resistant to that. It's like, you are good, you can be helpful, but get out of the way and let young people in there and do stuff that, let them in and let them do the things that people have voted for, that people want. Like, the older guard, they just want to do what they want, and that is not not what people want, you know. Like, we don't want to go through all kinds of trouble and then have someone come along and go, okay, thanks for doing that, now get out of here, that was a waste of time, we're going to do something completely else. We're, like, sick of that. So, but we are forced now with these two choices, and I don't think either of them are going away before the election. Like, I think the psychics are right. I think I was right, because that just seems to the way that now we're here. We're stuck here. It's change to who? They want to replace Joe Biden. Who is everybody going to agree with? I said this before. That is not the way to avoid chaos. You know, but they don't listen. You know, people voted and made their choice known, and they didn't listen. So now we have this, and now they're like, oh no, this ain't working out the way we thought it would. But here's the lesson for us, I think. We have to make the best of this shit. Like, seriously. Even if it were Trump to win, we would have to make the best of that, and that would, in my opinion, be some shit. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to go through that. But the reason why I have always felt like he's not going to win, Trump, is because he's going to do himself in with his own mouth, and then his fellows, his tag-alongs, they are trying to emulate him, and they don't even have his riz. They're terrible. they just come across so awful. They're just making a case why not to vote for us. And I feel like that's going to work for the Democrats. There are still some people that want to take a chance with him. And what blows my mind is that they're black people. They think that they're going to get a better... Like, I heard one of them say, the Democrats always say something, but then they don't do anything. Well, hi! The Republicans are the same. And if you think they're going to bend over backwards to do stuff for you and the Democrats didn't, the Democrats like black people. The Republicans don't. I don't know what planet you've been living on, but go ahead, move in, and try and hang out with them people. Good luck to you. I hope you find what you're looking for, honestly, because we all want that. We all want to find what we're looking for. We don't have to understand or like the path other people choose. We're here with each other. We're here, it's queer. Deal with it. Okay, so, and if you look at it, in my opinion, from that angle, the whole, like, scape of it is so interesting. Like, if it were a movie, you'd be, like, glued to your seat, eyes glued to the screen. It's exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. Will there be violence? Of course there'll be violence. We're bristling with guns. And people that want to use them want to find any little excuse. You don't even need a gun. Sometimes, like, police, they get so mad, they just want to beat you with their hands. They're so angry. And, wow, what is that all about? It's exciting. It puts you all up in your feels and makes you, like, whoa, react, you know? And, what do we get to do in the middle of all of this? Well, we can, like, go nuts and go along with it and go all crazy and be not positive. Or, you can do that and then understand that, like, what you're doing is part of what is going to happen regardless. Because, you know, everybody's stuff was already planned out before they were born. So whatever's going on, it was set in motion. You can't do nothing about it. And why would you want to? It's an opportunity to experience all of these things where when you leave the earthly plane and you stop being a human and you go out into the rest of space, you see that, oh, everything is so different and nothing at all like how Earth is. So we think, oh my God, we thought we were the only ones in the whole universe. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I'm gonna put it away. I put away the diamond card. But that's some arrogance right there. And we still have that. We just think that some of us can just like have domain over, have rule over other people, and people are not gonna like comply with going back to being property. That is just silly that anyone thinks that that's gonna happen. That's just gonna be easy, but I feel like it's gonna be okay, you know, and there is a level of arrogance, I think, to Joe Biden insisting that he's the only one that can do it. Sounds like somebody else actually that's a candidate in a way, but I think it's important to remember that if you're going to take that job, you're going to have a certain personality, and your ego's got to be as big as the wide open spaces wherever, because how else could you take it, you know? And it's weird. Trump was in there and he couldn't take hardly anything. Like everything everybody said, he's gonna go back later and make him pay, put him in prison, execute him. Like, he's nuts. He sounds crazy. And that's another point against him. And like I said, his tag-alongs and emulators and wannabe Trumpies. Keep talking crazy. You're gonna talk yourself right out of an election and go for it. Keep talking. It works for me. It works for all of us, and it's a matter of, like I said, who do you want to vote for? Who do you want representing you? What policies do you want to happen that are going to make your life not only easier, but shoot, worth living, you know? And I gotta say, one choice is about life and living, and one is about anger and death, and yeah, it's like, I don't know. We've had that. That's been like our operating system for so long. It's like, do we get it now? It's ugly, it sucks, everybody's angry, everyone's offended, and the offended is like, oh my god, you're gonna go into a public career and people are looking at you and you're easily offended? Are you sure that's the job you want? Because the people are not gonna stop offending you. That's a you thing. People that have that, though, they will blame everybody else and everything first before they'll turn the mirror on themselves and understand that, like, oh, I'm actually causing all of this to happen to me myself. And I know that sounded glib, that if you're not, like, even in the state of mind to think that you could come to such a conclusion, then you ain't there yet. Like, you're not ready. It's not a matter of better or not better. It's just that we go through stages in our development. We see it, as from, like, the growth from an infant to wherever you end up in life, however long you live, basically. Whatever I was talking about just flew out of my head. That's really irritating. Consciousness level. But it's no one should take it as an insult, because at each level we're definitely going through something, and it's for a reason, and it's, like, everything's a graduation with us, so we go through the stages, and just like, going from like a small child to an older child, you learn to tie your shoes, you learn to go to the bathroom in the toilet and not in your pants, and you learn how to read. Like, every step of your life you're learning something, and that's what it's like in the consciousness level. So you can't hold it against someone if they were born before you. It's not a race, it's not a competition. I know it can feel that way, but I don't know, to me that's just, why make it harder for yourself? Like, you want to be competing too on top of everything? I don't. That's like more work. It's work to me, and more of it than I want to be doing. So at some point you realize that busting your ass is not productive. You may earn what you feel like you need to earn, and you may have what you need, what you feel like you need to look the right way and be successful looking, or either, like, if that's your gauge to success, then that's what it is. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be different for everyone. I feel like at some point you realize that, like, the value of things is not in a thing. It's more like in the experience that you're having, in what you're feeling. So it has nothing to do with any object of whatever value. And that is not an easy... Well, I mean, it's easy when you get to the consciousness level where that makes sense to you. But if you're not at that level, you're not even going to be thinking about it that way. You're not going to be thinking about it, I don't believe. So I can only look back upon my own experience, but once I cared about stuff like that, and then over time I stopped caring, because I realized there's things that are more important because they are more meaningful because they last longer and are never going to wear out because they're a memory. I mean, you could say that your mind can go bad or something, but that's just silly pooping on the idea. It's true. Like, your memories, you're going to always have them. Regardless of the condition they may get into over time, because we tend to change stuff along the way or forget stuff and then fill in the blanks. But generally, you have the memory, so you're going to keep that probably a lot longer than you will a purse or a pair of shoes or a car or a stereo. And all, I'll just throw this in here. They make stuff to break, so good luck finding something good and valuable and worth, So I wanted to pull an animal card, I thought, because it just felt very, the whole election thing, I feel like is bringing up these sort of animalistic feelings and behaviors. And it's a lot of fear because people don't want things to change, and people are like, well, I never liked this in the first place, so I want to go back and change it, but it doesn't affect me personally. But that doesn't matter. Screw those people. It actually does matter. Please don't screw the people. Because you may be a retaliatory sort, but maybe the people you're trying to screw are not, and they'll just go back to protesting and voting and being activists and doing all of the things that really annoy you. If you want people to just do what you said or go away, and generally that is not how people are going to answer when you say, shut up and go away. Not anymore, because like I said, 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago or whatever, people are not going to give in to just having their freedom taken away. And we're too smart now, and I know that on the right in the past there was some fear of the general public becoming educated. You can't hold stuff back from people forever, and when you try, you just make them better at, doing the thing you don't want them to do. So, it's something to keep in mind. But when you let people do what they want to do, they're more likely to share what they're doing if it's shareable, or help when they can help. Compassion, you get a lot from it for having it for other people, and the other people in return get something from you. And that is the type of exchange of currency that I think is very valuable, so much more so than a designer or whatever. But that's just me. Well, see, this is why I do this usually before I start talking, because I've been shuffling these animal cards and nothing's coming out. So was I wrong about that? I don't know. I'm having chills, so I'm wrong. I don't know. Should I keep shuffling? Nothing. One more shuffle, come on. I just feel like we're on either side of whatever side you stand on the issue of the candidates for the president coming up here. Like the fear on the Democrat side. Oh my God, I'm surprised a mouse or a rabbit hasn't jumped out of here about that. And they have a thing too that's, well, I mean, I talked about it. It's that thing where, you beg the voter to the point where you're like, oh my God, if I see another ask for a donation or something, I'm going to throw out the devices on because it's like, what the hell are you even doing with the money? I still don't understand to my satisfaction how having more money than the other campaign translates as a win, because money is not a vote, except it is. And that is another lesson that's right in front of our faces that I feel like we should be noticing. Because, see, that's not where the value and stuff is. some tried to fall, but I don't think it was sincere. Well, I'm like really trying. I feel like there's something to be said here, so I'm just gonna keep talking and keep shuffling. But I'm almost done talking. Well, the thing is I wish that it didn't become such a versus situation, like us against them. Because why? I don't want to undermine my country by like being against my other countrymen. There's a lot of people that would love to see this country fail, but didn't like the freedom and the openness that we've had, and really, and we have had like the financial sort of winning position for a really long time. Although, so did England. People calm down. But the people that are angry about it wouldn't like England either. And that's too bad, because they're all kind of hurting right now. Like their systems, they come across as angry, and they are always talking about starting a war or acting aggressive with their soldiers. If you follow politics, you'll know which countries I'm talking about. And it's like, wow, really? Like, you got so much crap going bad in your country, and you're worried about what we're doing. You want to like try to snatch what we have or make us look like that. We can make ourselves look bad enough. Thank you. Okay, so I got starfish. That's interesting. The starfish, I can't think of an aggressive quality that it has, but what it does have is a mass on its face. But then if you flip over a starfish, you will see many little individual appendages under there. And that's just like one of those countries I was talking about that, oh my God, they often have stars in their logos. Well, so does America, but there's 50 on America's. There's like I don't know. That was not a right road to go down. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it is a overwhelming sort of mass, headed by the head of state. Like maybe that is the star, like almost like a sheriff's star, but like the head of state emblem, and then everybody underneath, you don't even really know they're there. They are very much not loud and proud. I mean, they are in a way, but the government has shown such deference in most cases that they appear to an American, for example, like meek and kind of held down by the state, which is kind of true. The state's priorities, in like all of them, the people are important when they want to use them to do something to further an end, and that's too bad. There's an element of that here in the States, and that's too bad, because the people are also the resource, not only what's under the ground or growing out of it on the land or flowing through it. Like every resource, a lot of entities are wanting to sell that and profit from it, and it's like the profit we're supposed to be making from these things is our lives, our living. So what does that have to do with the candidates? I think it's really like a message to take the time to look at what you are agreeing to, what you're agreeing to be a part of. If you're an American and you're interested and maybe not so informed about the politics going on right now, I'm not not sure how you would look that up, what I'm going to suggest, but you might want to take a look at what rights we've lost since, like, when Trump was president. Like, things were happening that was not talked about very loudly. Civil Rights Act was just getting hurt. So, I'm just saying, things you were used to, cherish them or make damn sure you're not going to lose them. And you can only do that by paying attention to who's going to preserve the rights for you and who's not. No one's going to do it for you unless you're a child. So, you gotta move. Oh, shoot. Oh, okay. There was one last thing, and of course I just forgot. Something about the candidates. Well, I was talking about taking a close look at what you're getting yourself into, or what you're agreeing to as a voter or as a citizen. Oh man, why did it escape me? Let me see if I can shuffle out a card here and jog my memory or shake loose what I wanted to say. Are you guys gonna go quiet now too? These people, these countries where they're envious and they're angry of this country, and they don't treat their own people very well, and yet they're expected to do whatever they say, and they're treated so badly in some cases where they're starving, and it's just very, very difficult. Something that not as many people in this country are experiencing. They're not forced to. Yeah. Oh, this was the other thing. So it's interesting. The last thing I said, they're not forced to yet. Something that I've noticed about the Trump fear on the left is that they're acting like he just already is president now. It's like they're totally undermining the president that we actually have. And our president, like, his team is trying to do a lot of damage control. He's trying to also do his own damage control, but I don't know that he sees the damage at the same level as everyone else, so that's pretty evident from what everyone's saying. But I don't think they're gonna get rid of him, so just perish that thought. But Trump is not president yet, and people should stop acting like he is and acting like the stuff that he's saying is going to be enacted tomorrow. He can't do anything right now. He's not president. He can cause interference and, like, kind of screw with the legislative actions, but the Republicans are not really doing much of that anyway right now. If they are doing stuff, they're very quiet about it. I'm not even hearing news reports, and I guess there's some places I could go search to make sure what they're doing, but generally when I do that, I find out they're up to something I wish I never went and looked at to find out. It's either useless or just mean-spirited. So, boy, I would like that element to, like, take a hike. We don't need that. That's obstructive. And why help the thing that's trying to hurt you? Like, you got some short-sighted